Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Really excited for today's video. It's Thursday, and sometimes on Thursdays I do Thursday's Thirsty Thoughts, where I pick a topic, discuss it, and try to get a conversation going in the comment section below. It's in the end of the year, so it's like a really easy topic. It's just my top 10 beers of the year. Feel free, again, in the comment section below to put your top beer of the year, top 5, top 10, whatever, anything that relates to this would be awesome to hear and get those conversations going. Conversations, debates, arguments, whatever. It all helps the algorithm. So a little bit about how I do mine. So what I've been doing is, actually I think I've reviewed all of these, yeah. Oh, wow, I just reviewed this beer. This might be a contender for top 10 beer of the year. I might put a blank sticker on the back of it, jot down some thoughts, or not, and then I put them off camera on the shelf to my left, and then, sometimes things might get taken off because it's like, all right, well, I've had better at this point, so this one's got to go. I had some recently that I did that too, and I ended up doing I think it was 4 runner-up beers on the NerdSense channel's holiday special. So these are the top 10, and it's basically the top 10 beers I've had, but there's no like real science behind it. Again, it's just kind of like a gut reaction, like I think this is a top 10 beer, and I put it to the side. I kind of think about styles, because I like a lot of different styles, so I don't want them to all just be like barrel-aged stouts, but there'll be plenty of those, or breweries and things like that. So it's not like a pure tournament style kind of a thing. It's just kind of like a gut reaction. Anyway, in no particular order, just whichever one's closest to me, top 10. So, Maple Jacket from Revolution. This is courtesy of Ross. I want to double check. So it's a barley wine with maple. And, I mean, if you know me, I love barley wines. I love barrel-aged barley wines, and I love maple. So it's kind of like an easy sell for me, but of course you have to stick the landing. And if you've ever had Revolution's barrel-aged beers, you know they stick the landing. I've told this many times, but like growing up, I would help my great-grandfather collect maple sap, boil it in a sugar shack. We always had real maple syrup. I never ate the fake stuff. And I just, have, again, always loved maple. And when a maple beer hits, it hits for me. So yeah, that was kind of an easy one. Keeping in the Chicago area, from Hop Butcher, Roll Your Own Way, Imperial Stout brewed with cinnamon and vanilla. So this one was just straight up cinnamon roll. I mean, you can even tell with a snail on the label art, can art. I'm a cinnamon roll fiend, so I'm releasing this right before the New Year, Christmas Day. Made cinnamon rolls. My dad always made cinnamon rolls on Christmas Day. I make cinnamon rolls more than just once a year on Christmas Day. I love cinnamon rolls, and this beer was a beer, don't get me wrong, but it was, in a lot of ways, you took a cinnamon roll and converted it into liquid bread form, and I was here for it. I loved it so much. And that was kind of an easy one. Obviously, from Hop Butcher, I've had a lot of beers this year from them. Mostly they're hoppy beers, and that's no slight. It's just this one, you had the nostalgia for me and the taste for me. Kind of like the maple, again, going back to my great-grandfather. Let's see. Well, speaking of hoppy beers, let's do a hoppy beer. So this one, Hop Juju, which I think, if memory serves, Joe from Jow's Arcade, I think this is his favorite from Fatheads. This was courtesy of Chris. It's West Coasty. This is my notes. A little new school mixed in. It had that big and lasting flavor, like a long finish. It hit that nostalgia note. Apparently, I know it's like, nostalgia is a word that's getting thrown around a lot lately. Not just by me, obviously, but oh yeah, I used to drink beers that tasted like this a lot. And the fact that this one hit so hard, but then that resinous thing, I love big fruity IPAs, but I also do like that piney resin thing. And I think this beer just, Fatheads crushes it, period. But definitely that beer was top notch for me. Let's see, let's go to a big one. This one was courtesy of Billy. North Coast Bourbon Barrel Aged Barley Wine Ale. This one was aged for a long time. Yeah, aged 6 years. 6 years. I remember this one. I mean, like I was saying with the Maple Jacket, one of my favorite styles. Aged in bourbon barrels. But not like for a year. It's not like a 12-month age. 6 years. North Coast, awesome brewery. They're old by craft beer standards. So like they don't always get like the love and conversation going that they should. So I'm really glad this one was kind of like a no-brainer. Like when I was drinking it and reviewing it and then stopped recording, I'm like, yeah, when I finish this up, it's got to go on the shelf as a contender for top 10. And it never got knocked off. And I've had a lot of really good beers this year that not make the top 10 list. Well done to the North Coast for doing it. Oh, what? Another one from North Coast? So also courtesy of Billy. So this is their Old Stock Ale, which is also aged in bourbon barrels. I'm seeing a theme here. I tried to kind of have a variety, but I guess this is an old ale technically. But this one was from 2013. So this was kind of like a pre-aged, for me, beer. And I don't know if there's any other breweries that I have the same brewery twice. I actually kind of try not to do that, which I guess is really telling about North Coast, how good of a job they did with both these beers. I've drank a lot of Old Stock. That was early in craft beer for me. I could get their stuff. A lot of Old Rasputin, for example. A lot of Old Stock. And, just, again, that nostalgia thing, but also just still crushing. I know this is from 2013, but like just, again, this brewery they crush it. Let's go with like a little bit newer school of a brewery. So this one almost got dethroned by Medianoche, but I kept it because I really liked the coffee in this one. So this is Breakfast for Four. So it's WeldWerks, but it's a collaboration with them, Microphone, who makes great stuff, Great Notion, also makes great stuff, and Mostra Coffee. The viscosity, first word I wrote was viscosity. These WeldWerks stouts, oh my god, the viscosity, it's nuts. How long they boil it for. Huge chocolate, which I got in the Medianoche. Drinks way bigger than it is. Oh wait, is this the one? It's like, oh wait, they don't put the ABV. This one, yeah, did I do this one blind and think it was a higher ABV one? Fudgy, oh yeah, only 11.6 if I'm reading my handwriting correctly. And I thought it was like 15%, like, because that viscosity tricked me. And then it has that coffee. Oh my god, this beer was so good. The Medianoche, again, almost dethroned. It ended up being a runner-up. But I think the coffee gave it just a little bit of an edge. And I love that Medianoche. All right, so let's go to, let's just go this one. Speaking of adjuncts, this one was super fun. Nocino, this was courtesy of Keith, from Free Will. Free Will just crushing it. You may have seen my unboxing video from Keith recently where he sent a bunch of their stuff. He and I are gonna do a collab of this one, which is a double barrel aged Ralpheus, and he sent me a couple of Ralpheus. And then Iceberg Theory Imperial Stout aged 2 years in rum barrel with toasted coconut and lime zest. Little Hemingway on the cover there. But anyway, this I've had actually a decent amount of Free Will at this point, and everything from like lagers to these barrel aged beers. This one, and it was cool because Free Will reached out to me after they watched my review, and this one, it has a bunch of adjuncts in it, but nothing dominated. And I don't mind it if adjuncts dominate, but I can quite like that actually. I like in-your-face flavors, kind of obvious with the beers that I picked. Is my favorite of the year. But what I was impressed with, and I said it in the review, is how subtle and perfectly interwoven. I mean, listen to all the things going on in this beer. Imperial Stout aged in brandy barrel with black walnuts, cinnamon, orange peel, Tahitian vanilla, allspice, and cardamom. I mean, that's a lot. So let's see, what did I write? Sweet, but some balance. Warm spices, so the spices came through nicely. Kind of, like a mild stout. Has all this nice stuff going on. and the brandy barrel just worked so well in it. Yeah, just I mean, oh my god, their stuff's killing it. Don't worry, Clayton. It didn't get dethroned. He was on a live stream. He's like, I know one of them that's still in the top 10. Yes, it is. Triptych. I wrote one note. Enough vanilla. Dearest Anna, barrel aged imperial stout, conditioned with Intelligentsia coffee and Madagascar vanilla beans. Oh my goodness, is it Triptych or Triptych? Now I'm questioning myself. Another brewery I've had a decent number of their beers from, and for a brewery I can't get in New York, I mean, like Freewell, I can't get it here, so I've had a decent amount given I can't get it in my home state. But man, this beer was freaking good. I don't know. I guess whatever. It is what it is. Two more. So this one was nice because it's always, I don't think geographic location when I'm kind of doing like the gut reaction, what should be a contender for top 10. It's always nice to see a local beer, and it happens a decent amount. But this is Feiden's Teacher's Pet. It's not just because I'm a teacher, and this beer is called Teacher's Pet. Best pale ale I had all year, hands down. And it's just Citra and Nelson, 5.4% ABV. It is phenomenal. And kind of like with hoppy beers, typically double IPA is my preferred. I love pale ales, IPAs, and triple IPAs. Most triple IPAs. But to me, the sweet spot is double IPA. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something a little bit hoppier or whatever, a little bit more bitter, I mean. But the amount of flavor they got into that pale ale, dumb. Just dumb. And the last one, kind of a more recent one, but a brewery I love, and I was glad that it made it, is this from New Glarus. It's Black Currant from Caleb. And I don't know if I've ever had, I know in like some desserts I've had some black currants, like scones, for example. But I don't think I've ever just like eaten black currants. But man, when they're used correctly in a beer, like it's just such a just huge, awesome flavor. And New Glarus crushes it with fruit. Their fruit. I've said this many times on videos and not on video. If I lived in Wisconsin and I could easily get New Glarus's fruit beers, there's no way I would do a review channel because I would just be too busy drinking those beers all the time. I would never want to drink anything else. So it was really cool to try a fruit-forward beer from them that I never had before, and it lived up to it, lived up to the hype. So that's my top 10, right? It's 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I can count to 10. Yay. I even use my fingers. So that's my top 10 of the year. I hope my process made sense enough. It's a gut reaction. I try to kind of vary it up with different styles and breweries and things like that. But clearly, North Coast is the winner there, where I didn't even have to. I couldn't pick one between the two to kept them both. Any of these on your top 10 list? What is your top 10, top 5, top beer of the year? Anything, everything. This should foster a conversation, everyone. Comment section below. Let's get those conversations going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untappd. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both of those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.